Kahodo, who is a senior manager trade finance. Good morning, and thank you for joining us, Kevin.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Now, of course, all of us are looking for opportunities, and good ones for that matter. And you have a campaign of something that's coming up, and this is specifically targeted at the counties.
Sure.
Let's start from there. What is that all about?
Great. Now, to start you off, so that we break down to the viewer to understand what is financial literacy, so that it's not as complex as it may appear. This is just the knowledge of how to handle your finance or financial management, all the skills or the knowledge on how to make decision in terms of the financial or the resources that are at your disposal. So that's purely the financial literacy.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Yes.
So those are the opportunities and what is being given to the people at the county level for them to, first of all, just be educated on how to handle money.
Absolutely.
What are some of the misnomers or possibly myths that you think we have when it comes to handling money?
Okay, great. The one myth about handling money is that it is never enough, or I don't have it. But whether you are in employment or whether you are in business, you always have a financial goal. Even a student also has a financial goal. So the misconception is that we don't have that enough money to really realize our financial goal. So what they don't understand is that it's a journey. That's number one. Number two, there must have been some skills, some knowledge. You must possess some skills for you really to realize something. So that is the journey that the literacy or the financial literacy is actually meant to achieve. And
where does that journey begin?
The journey begins even from the curriculum itself. If you look at the Vision 2030, it strives even to have the curriculum from the primary, secondary, tertiary, and all universities, so that the skills on basic skills in terms of finance is taught. That's where I start. Then number two is now when you are an adult, then you get to know, in terms of financial literacy, how do I manage my finances? All right? It starts with how. Because money is never enough. It's a scarce resources. So it has to be informed by what is it that I have. This is what I have. Where or what do I want to do? Then the question is the how. Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So when one is beginning this journey on financial literacy, I've read books where it says that, it's not taught, it's not something that you're taught in a school. It's not something that, if you're lucky, you'll have it passed down from your father, your parents or guardian, if they're good money managers. So we learn more from what we see than what we read or hear. Is that true?
You're right. Absolutely right, Mike. Most of the decisions people make, unfortunately, even people who are elite, they make decisions on the gut feeling or the influence of the social circles they have. So in short, what it happened is that instead of really just getting to know, all right, admit that I'm limited and there's no harm in me going and actually seek advice. An analogy of a doctor. When you go to a doctor, you have a stomachache. You don't go and say, please prescribe the drug for my stomachache. You really actually explain what has happened, so that now they go to the deep, and then they say, all right, can we treat the cause? So in now the same scenario, it is not taught, like you've said, but you can actually get it from institutions that are available, and actually they're actually going all the way to the county level, like you said. And actually we'll be looking at which are these institutions that are actually going now to really make the environment attractive, so that someone can actually rely on informed information other than the gut feeling or the social influence.
And one of the things you've mentioned in your opening remarks is the fact that there is a myth that money is never enough.
Absolutely.
We'll never get it enough.
Exactly.
Does that mean that then, one, money is there? And secondly, what is it that stops us from getting it? Because there are those who will tell you confidently that, true, there is no money. They've tried to access it, they've tried to get a job, but it's not there.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, the first aspect is money enough or not enough? It depends with the goal, the financial goal. Because if, assuming you are in employment, that employment you are in, your employer actually has availed some facilities as incentive to every employee. Okay? So if an employee is able to say what is at my disposal, then can you really make your decision in terms of what is at your disposal? Because everyone has some cash or some resources at his or her disposal. Then the answer, the question is, how do I manage myself from here? Don't imagine you have $1 billion and you have $1 million. Okay, can you work with that 1 million towards the goal of the $1 billion you want to make? Now, the second question you asked is how do they access?
Right.
Because we are saying, yes, it is scarce. Now, in this era, okay, we have institutions that are making money available. But in as much as those institutions are there, the problem may not be money as a liquidity. What they need is empowerment. Financial empowerment. You don't really need to have money in the pocket, but all you need is solutions. So that is now another myth that I must have money in my pocket to really expand my business or start my business. All you need to do is to approach the same institution that are making or availing the money or the finances, and then you sit with them, and then there are a lot of opportunities, various products that are designed, all right, to bring the solution, not necessarily disbursing the loan. Can I give you an example? In the business of supply, all right, a youth, because the government has really been deliberate in making opportunities available for youth,
right.
women, and persons with disability. Actually, up to 30% of the traders in the government and government entities and agencies. Now, the moment that youth or that person gets a tender, because now they have been given something, all right, which is the road to empowerment, they are triggered now to come to the banks. Remember, initially before that, they would not have approached the bank.
Right.
Now they have something that they say, all right, this is what I have, advise me. Now, with that document alone, which is a purchase order, all right, the bank is able actually to customize or structure such that exactly, and it doesn't have to be financing, it's actually a solution. They say, okay, you have been given a tender to supply, let's say, mineral water to, let's say, Credit Bank. Now, all they need to do is that, where am I buying the mineral water? I'm buying from Kerrigate, Aquamist, whoever. Then, what is it that they need? They need assurance that once you take the commodity, you'll pay.
You'll get paid.
So the bank will actually give the undertaking or the comfort or the guarantee to the supplier. Then they also, on this other side, they look at the procuring entity, who is Credit Bank. Then the Credit Bank or the procuring entity give an undertaking that, yes, once this is supplied, you'll actually pay, all right, this supplier who is a middleman, all right, through this bank, all right? And then once you give, the same bank that has received the payment is the same bank that has given a guarantee to the supplier. So ultimately, it will ensure that this one is paid, so that now the guarantee is not called out.
Okay, and how does one go about that negotiation? Because it sounds very simple and very easy.
Yes.
But once you get onto that table and try to apply for that, you'll find banks have a long list of things they require. Also the supply or the procurement entity.
Yes.
In this case, those who are buying from you also may have a long list of things they require for you to qualify. So how does one bridge that gap?
Great. How you bridge this gap, Mr. Mike, is each party is striving for a win-win situation. The supplier needs to make a sale, isn't it? And then the procuring entity requires the commodity that they are buying. And also the financial institution involved also require to really come in as a financial intermediation, and then they also make some money from the transaction. From the transaction. So ideally, all the parties now come as a tripartite. It's called tripartite agreement because there are 3 parties involved. So what will happen is that the bank, which is well informed, and it has all the products and the services at its disposal, it's able to do something that is called structuring. To structure something that is customized to that specific. It's not a vanilla, that you're given a brochure and you're told, no, go and meet condition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we give a loan as an LPO, or we give a bank guarantee. We look at that kind of, that youth who really intend to make the supply. We look at what is at his disposals. Then once we exhaust that, then we say, all right, what is the risk in the transaction. The bank has to look its risk, the supplier has to look its risk, and the procuring entity has to check risk. And most of the time, procuring entity is the quality. The supplier is to be paid, okay, if they have released the goods on credit, and the bank also, if they really have issued the guarantee, then just to put a mechanism to avoid that guarantee being called up. So what happened is that the three parties now come into an agreement that is legally binding. What are the duties for the procuring entity? Once the good is delivered, it meets the terms, they must pay through an account at Credit Bank. All right? What is the duty and the role of the intermediary? To deliver. So in this case, in as much as it is hard from the theory, it's also easy because all the parties have the same shared interest. To an extent that even the supplier is willing to deliver the commodity to the procuring entity, but the party that is having the order is the one to raise the invoice and deliver the notes. In this case now, we eliminate the risk of diversion, that you have not bought from party A, instead of taking to B, you've taken to C. Right. That's eliminated. So it's actually upon the banks really just come to this reality that we cannot continue doing business in a traditional way. We actually have to realize that as long as we are able to look at a transaction from a businessman perspective, that's the only time we are actually going to give the solutions.
Okay. And where does one get all this information? Because again, like we mentioned, this is not information that you necessarily may have been taught in a school, but it is available. Yes. And there are options.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Mike, if you look at the Kenya, okay, the 60%.
Sorry, let me just ask you to hold that thought. I want us to cross over to Isli, where we have Professor George Magoha speaking, and this is in regards to the KCSE examinations that are on day 2 today. Let's listen.
The exams had not been tampered with, and like I've said